In this video, you will find out what structured expert judgment is and when it is appropriate to use. Despite the fact that we live now big data times, when loads of data are at a click or cloud distance, there are numerous situations when the lack of data poses real challenges. You might remember the questions which were raised in the intro video for this course. They were examples when no or not much data were available, such as innovative designs for nuclear power plants or volcano activity. Another slightly different example is the number of infections caused by certain pathogens. At first sight, there might be sufficient data for the analysis, but a careful look will reveal that the available data come from outbreaks, which notoriously suffer from underreporting and underdiagnosis. Clearly, the outbreak data will underestimate the number of infections caused by these pathogens. In this type of situations, the lack of data is also hard to be handled with standard approaches. Experiments are, in this case, too expensive, technically too complicated, or the consequences are simply unacceptable. We have seen how these data challenges can be addressed by making use of expert judgment. But what is an expert? This is a very hard yet very important question. There is no single definition of what an expert is. Here are 3 definitions ranging from a very detailed description of requirements, which is provided by Meyer and Booker in 1991, to no explicit requirement other than being present during an elicitation, as provided by O'Hagan and colleagues in 2006. The concise definition of Farrell accounts for the 2 key ingredients regarding expert judgment: the domain expertise and the uncertainty that is being assessed from the experts. You saw in the previous 2 videos how important the uncertainty quantification is. During this course, you will also learn how important the uncertainty component of the expert assessment is and how the classical model evaluates expert opinion based on uncertainty assessments. There is no formal definition of what an expert is, but what is generally agreed upon is that having multiple experts is always better than having one expert. Having more experts can improve accuracy, can reduce the risk of bad assessments. Moreover, multiple experts can reduce the influence of selection of experts. Finally, we will see how the IDEA protocol that will be presented at the end of the course, that multiple experts can discuss and clarify the setting and reduce ambiguities. Multiple experts mean multiple assessments, which in turn need to be aggregated in order to come up with one set of assessments in order to inform the decision makers. Expert assessments can be aggregated in 3 main ways: mathematically, behaviorally, or by a combination of the both methods. Mathematically means that experts' assessments enter a mathematical formula, that is, a linear combination, from which aggregated assessments are derived. A behavioral aggregation entails that the group of experts have to discuss and agree with some final assessments. Mixed aggregation includes discussion as well as mathematical aggregation. During this course, we will combine expert opinions only mathematically, and at the end of the course, you will be introduced to the IDEA protocol, which is a mixed method. You should keep in mind, though, that within the IDEA protocol, the discussion is not meant to influence expert opinion, but is just to clarify the context and remove ambiguities. The linear combination can use equal weights, that is, each expert contributes equally to the final assessments. Unequal weights are also possible, but this raises the question how to determine these unequal weights. We will answer this question in detail in the following weeks. As you already know, the method you will learn about during this course is called Classical Model for Structured Expert Judgment, and is often referred to as the Cook's method, or even the Delft method. This is because it has been developed by Roger Hooke, whom you've already watched talking about the need for uncertainty quantification. His book from 1991 marks the formal birth of the method, and its title emphasizes the importance of the role played by uncertainty in the evaluation and aggregation of experts' assessments. The method has been successfully applied in numerous professional studies over the years, in fields spanning from climate change to nuclear safety to natural disasters and extreme events, epidemiology, etc. Most of the examples that you saw in the previous video come actually from real applications. You'll find more about these studies in the upcoming weeks. On the right, you can also see some of the organizations involved in the studies. Roger Cook introduced the term structured expert judgment and emphasized that the qualifier structured means that expert judgment should be treated as scientific data, albeit scientific data of a new type. Now, in order to be accepted as scientific data, expert judgments must be subjected to the same quality controls as any other type of data. This has led to the 4 principles that expert data must satisfy. The first principle is accountability. That is, all data, including experts' names and assessments, as well as all processing tools, must be open to peer review, and results must be reproducible by competent reviewers. The names will, however, not be linked with the assessments in public documents, and that complies with the current privacy laws. The second principle entails that expert assessments should be subjected to empirical controls. This principle addresses the important question of how to test if the expert's assessments are valid, and what valid means. Neutrality states that the method for evaluating and combining expert opinion should encourage experts to state their true opinions. That is, experts should not be rewarded when consistently manipulating their assessments. And finally, the fairness principle should apply, and experts should not be prejudged prior to processing the results of their assessments. The sole criterion of evaluating experts is based on their assessments, using objective scores. We will see these principles at work in the classical model, with a special emphasis on the empirical quality control. Now, here is a list of references mentioned during this video, and thank you for your attention.